The reason why we're doing this video is there's something a little bit different, and I am going to cheat, and you can call me out in the comments if you want. So this little beauty came into us yesterday. It came into us for a gearbox fault. The customer had recently purchased it. Many of you probably recognise this particular vehicle. Came onto the market, the customer purchased the vehicle. Since then he's been suffering with gearbox issues, or so he thought, in terms of going into gear, selecting gears, etc., having to select the gear first. Now the customer originally booked in for us to remove his gearbox. He was going to keep his original, but remove the gripper diff that was installed into his original box and put it into a new box. Now when we came to remove the gearbox and stripped it, which we did yesterday, and it's on the bench behind you and I'll show you in a minute, we found that there was no real substantial issue with the box itself, and we were a little bit confused as to exactly why this issue was occurring. So with the customer's agreement, we looked into it a little bit further. I'll take you over to the gearbox in just a minute and we'll have a little bit of a chat about what we found. So here we have the original gearbox removed from the vehicle on the bench. We stripped this open yesterday and found no significant damage. You were obviously going to find some bits on the magnet that's inside, it's doing its job. We couldn't find any significant wear on any of the gears, any marks, any chips or anything like that, which would have caused this issue. So we looked a bit further at it, and lo and behold, what did we find but a race spec clutch fitted to the vehicle. Now whilst this is acceptable, what we did find is that there is a tolerance issue in the bell housing that Ford produced from the factory. Now this is a 1 mil difference between many of the gearboxes that are fitted or were fitted to these vehicles. This make and model, the Focus Mk2, the full range, which means that with just a 6 mil travel required for the concentric slave cylinder, this can sometimes cause issues which correspond with those to which the customer was suffering, i.e. having to select a different gear before engaging the one that you wanted. So in this instance, sometimes the customer was having to select first to get reversed or first to get another gear. So the solution: to leave this clutch alone for the time being. For now, we're going to change it to an RTS clutch. The good thing about that is that we've also got an update for that particular clutch too, so I'm going to take you over to that now and show you just what's changed with the RTS clutch. So I'm going to introduce you to the replacement clutch. Now this is the RTS clutch. You've seen it all before, we've featured it on a couple of videos. It's the twin friction material. Now the reason why we're doing this video is there's something a little bit different, and I am going to cheat, and you can call me out in the comments if you want, but I'm going to cheat because it's just too much information to read, to remember. Very kindly, Steve at RTS has actually emailed me some information. The biggest thing about this was some of the response to some of the damping in terms of the clutch. So this technology, Steve assures me, was used in the VW kind of market, and it's some of the technology that they've taken from the clutch that they've put into this one rather than the other way around. So this wide angle damper technology, which is what Steve tells me, is that the springs have changed in here. Now, as you've seen in some of the other videos, like the AET video that Nick at Voodoo did, they don't reveal too much information about the technology that they use, and that's understandable. But it's a twin friction drive plate. It's still got obviously the paddle side to the gearbox and the organic other side. it still gives you that really light feel, whilst what Steve's written here is we're constantly pushing forward excellence. RTS engineers have developed a new and improved wide angle damper to further improve the driving experience and further dissipate engines with high RPMs such as direct injection and turbocharged engine. It's equipped with high performance damping that excel in decreasing noise and vibration, and more importantly protect the diff and the gearbox synchros. So that's basically it. What I think I can derive from that is obviously these springs are slightly bigger, slightly stronger. I think he mentioned before that they provide between 25 and 40% more damping. Obviously this has got up to about 60% more clamping load than the original clutch anyway. So this damping effect's just going to protect those important components, going to mean that you've got longevity of other components such as gearbox, etc. With that other clutch that was fitted to the car, this is kind of some of the things that maybe you would have experienced long terms in terms of keeping that particular race setup fitted. Whilst it has its uses and it can be used on road, it probably is better suitable for the customer to this particular clutch and flywheel setup. So hopefully the customer will enjoy it, and he'll get to enjoy his car after wondering what this was, and we hope this sorts it out for him, and we look forward to seeing him at some of the meets quite soon. As ever, if you've liked this content, then hit the like button, the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to stay updated. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. We really do appreciate your feedback, and we'll see you all very soon. So it wasn't quite that simple. If you get a problem with one of these racing clutches, what I can really recommend is that you change the gearbox as well as the clutch. Now, we spoke to the original designer, manufacturer, or designer should I say, of the clutch about the fact that we replaced the clutch in this vehicle and it still wasn't operating correctly. Well, all I can suggest is that you do replace them. The damage that is not visible inside the gearbox that the guy who designed these found, I did speak to him before I did this, just to confirm that it probably was the cause of it, but what I didn't do was check with him whether we should replace both at the same time, and in hindsight maybe I should have done that, but we visually couldn't see any damage inside the gearbox. As I say, there was no real kind of build up on the magnet, so we assumed that it was all good. And apparently, so I'm told, without a full inspection you can't actually see the damage inside that causes this issue with having to select first to go into reverse and reverse to go into first, and so on and so forth. So you've got to do a full tear down to see that. Now the customer obviously wasn't willing to pay that, because if we'd have sent it off to a gearbox specialist, it's anything between 1,000 and 1,200 quid just to inspect and rebuild it. Some of the shafts inside here and some of the components are so expensive to rebuild these. We've seen it time and time again. If you buy them from Ford, you're looking at some of the bits are like in excess of £500 plus VAT at cost, you know. So rebuilding these gearboxes just isn't cost effective. So yeah, we've decided to put a good used second-hand box in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that's going to get this fully sorted. The customer's fully aware. We did actually, just to make sure that the customer was fully aware of the situation, we had a three-way conversation between ourselves, the customer, and the original designer of this clutch, just to make sure that he knew that it wasn't something that we were trying to do just for the sake of it. There was good reason behind it, and we wanted him to have all the knowledge to make an informed decision of not to just put this box in with the original clutch and end up in the same situation again. So hopefully once we've done this, we'll be back to normal. It'll be working. He'll have his old gearbox back that he can decide what to do with. He'll have the clutch, the race clutch that could be suitable for some other application or some vehicle out there within the tolerance of this 1.5mm difference in the bell housing, etc. And he can do what he wishes with that, and hopefully he'll be sorted, squared away with this quite fast car, to be fair. But hopefully we'll take it for a drive later and show you a little bit more about the car. Thanks guys, see you in a bit. Booyah! Hiya! Right, so we're going out in this car now just to test it out. Before it was an absolute struggle to get it into gear. Now I can select everything without kind of messing about, which is great. We got there in the end. Bit of a pain in terms of not replacing the gearbox, like I said earlier on in the clip. In hindsight, maybe I should have said to my colleague, listen, do you believe that we should have replaced we should replace the gearbox as well as the clutch? But that's hindsight, and that's the benefit of it. We know for next time. So we've installed the RTS clutch, should I say. It's a new one. It feels completely different, if I'm honest, and this is my first kind of time testing out this new design. It feels a little bit heavier, like a Helix clutch. It's not quite the same, but it's definitely I like it because it feels more kind of racy and stuff, and it's definitely similar to what, I'm sorry, I'm just putting it in gear and so on and so forth, just getting a feel for it. So we're going to go out now. We're probably going to speed up some of this action, because as you know, we're bedding in the clutch, so we can't give it any stick. We wouldn't do that with a customer's car without their permission, or with them by our side anyway. So we're just going to go up the road and test this out, and we'll come back to you shortly with some more talking and let you know what we think. But for now, let's go. Get that details for the RTS bedding in procedure. I think it's 1,000 miles, is it, Lee? I don't want to do this while we're driving. 750 to 1,000. 750 to 1,000 miles of bedding in procedure. So that's remember, guys, that isn't 700 miles battered down a motorway, because that's not going to bed anything in. 750 miles to 1,000 miles is usually of A and B roads, so that you're changing gear and going through the motions. Otherwise, if you just batter 1,000 miles of motorway, you won't have changed gear probably more than twice, and that's just no good at all. This gripper diff that's in this is, as I remember it, I haven't driven one of these for ages, and to be fair, they are, yeah, gripper diffs made for track. So yeah, it's got quite an interesting voltage gauge and like a heads-up dash behind. Goes into gear perfectly now. When we brought it in initially, we couldn't even get it into gear to go into the workshop, to be fair. So first 36 is a bonus. So just gentle driving, so increase the revs just gently, increase your speed. We're on a dual carriageway now, we're bit here, to be fair. I'm going to choose a 4th gear, just not to do a pull, just to do a steady acceleration from about 48 mile an hour. Now, just a gentle acceleration. It is a highly tuned car, this, so it's not like doing that gentle acceleration, really. It just wants to fly out, doesn't it? That was awful in terms of trying to get to a gentle acceleration there. It's going to enjoy these 750 miles of trying to do this gently. Yeah, I'd like to see what this car can do when it's all sorted and he's done the pedaling mileage. Seems like quite a powerful car, to be fair. So yeah, for now we've done sort of a couple of miles up the road of driving. I think that we can call that a conclusion.
It's definitely worked.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, there's no crunching through the gears or anything. We're going to come off here now. So I've just chosen 6 down to 4th, just to give it 5th, 6. Just going to indicate to come off here. Just literally go down into 4th. Gentle pops. Violent. Down to 3rd. Down to 2nd, and we're into a roundabout. Right the way round the roundabout. Use your indicator. I'm not a BMW driver, am I?
So, local BMW drivers.
Well, are you a BMW driver?
No.
Oh, you are, aren't you? Straight from the Vauxhall crew.
I like the comfort.
Comment down below if you think that Lee should get rid of the BM and get a Ford. So we're just gently accelerating up the slip road now. We're in 4th, straight through to 5th, another gentle acceleration, into 6, gently, 72 mile an hour, yeah, we're good, backed off. So yeah, every gear selected, we're all good. Probably going to leave it at that, or we're going to do some cinematics. It's a little bit dusty to be doing.
Cinematics of the outsides.
Lee, you love your cinematics. How long do these people want to watch for?
Everyone loves cinematics.
6 minutes of this, look. So yeah,